should be going live. And I am live. So, what is up, guys? I need to invite my friends first to this thing that we're doing because the stream is more fun when I do React live coding with friends. So, let me just send my friends the link that I needed to send them. Can do that, and well, this might take a while, but say how's it in the chat if you are here. Um, yeah, but at the moment, I just need to get them all set up. Today, if you are not aware of things, uh, I am planning to build like a little login page, basically. Like we'll build like a login page to like mock logging in, and that will be fun. Um, so yeah, there we go. I've sent the link to them so they can join whenever they are ready, which is going to be great. Um, yeah, cool. Anyways, so I think Kevin will probably show us what he's been up to, if he's been up to like adding any useful things in here. Um, looks like he made, well, yesterday we did our login button, and if you logged in, then you have the contestant input. It also takes you to this admin page. Um, so, I mean, theoretically, we don't need that admin page. We could just say like is logged in and show them something. But we have made it so that if you log out, it automatically redirects you out. Oh, hello, you've joined.
Oh,
I'm just
yes, I
talking
did.
to myself at the moment because that's what I do.
Okay.
So I'm still waiting for Kevin, obviously. Um, yeah, I was just going through what we have so far. Um,
Okay.
I see like a console warning, and I'm like, why is this console warning here? So, um, yeah, I think it's
Let me just, yeah.
no worries. Uh, what was I going to say? Turn you guys down a bit. So, yeah, why is this happening? Admin cage. Let's go check it out, Salon. I used to have to connect to Code Sandbox and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's obviously the same
Yeah.
thing.
I think my thing here that it's complaining about is just that I'm like returning something.
Yeah.
I'm just returning null when actually the history is being replaced. I don't know. I'm testing some things to see like uh, what different kind of stuff goes on because I'm getting like weird little render errors that don't really mean anything right now, but like I like to get rid of warnings. So yeah,
Okay.
and it happens when I log out. Yeah, basically it just happened like functional components are weird, and like I can't go return something after like setting it to navigate away, which yesterday I put it in to make sense, but now, no, yeah, I don't know. It makes sense to
Yeah.
actually have our code like more minimalized, which is like nice. So
Okay.
where is Kevin? Kevin, where are you? Do you have any questions of anything we've done so far?
um, yeah, yo, what was that? I'm still, I'm still trying to get used to, yeah, because I mean, I, yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know how it works yet, but I'm hoping your tutorial course, Sudoku, will help. So
yeah,
I'll go through
it
that, and
should.
I'm sure I'll have a better understanding.
Cool.
Yeah,
Ah,
but
there's my dad typing. Hi, Dad. I was gonna type back, but I realized I'm just talking, so I mean, I can just say, how's it? um, Yeah. I mean, Kevin
Yeah.
said he was up
So
to doing some things. He did some things like between yesterday and now to clean up stuff, and I don't really know what he did, but yeah,
okay.
I'm wondering like if we even use our little dispatch button anymore. But yeah, I can see you've selected that whole switch statement.
Oh, sorry.
Like, what is going on?
Yeah, when does this switch?
um,
Okay, so this is index.
I mean they're all index, so
Oh,
um, the indexes are basically where the directories are, like an index is of like a directory. So like
okay.
this is the roots index. You'll have like a reducers index. Like we kind of follow this pattern of just calling everything index because like one of the examples is if you go to the components contestant display, that component has like a component within it. So if we like label everything as index, you can put like you can kind of nest the files, which is nice.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know if you see source slash components slash contestants display. Then there's a contestant folder in there, and each index is basically just a like it's the folder because you can import something like you can import component slash index, and just importing components itself means it will import the index file, you know. So
Automatically.
yeah, so it just kind of makes your files a bit cleaner, um,
Okay.
by like
Makes sense.
not having to say like slash the name of the file. You just say slash index,
Yeah.
and then you organize like you can kind of navigate your code a lot easier in the left panel.
Okay.
If you collapse a folder, you just conveniently hide everything away.
Mhm.
So yeah, but I have no idea where Kevin is. Um, he was so excited, and now he's not here. So
Mhm.
um, I don't really want to
Interesting.
start making the login page without him.
Yeah,
So
he knows more than I do.
yeah, maybe I should just do one thing. I can show you so long because like this is one of the things where we didn't convert our React components to functional components. If you go to components slash header, if you go to the header index, um,
Yes.
you should see stuff here.
Yeah.
And he's got yeah, cool. Um, so that's just his like simple little rank number and name and points and stuff.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And like this is a if you learned React like originally, you'd you'd basically you do this class component. And the reason you did class like these full class components was because um, you had to use these class components to have a component state and lifecycle methods for the components. But things kind of changed pretty much end of 2018, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, around the end of 2018, uh, the React core team introduced something called hooks. So then you could start because if you're not going to use classes and stuff, you use like a functional component because then you don't have like the boilerplate of like setting up a component that's going to need like lifecycle stuff like state changes, and like a component updates as the state updates or as its props updates.
Mm.
Um, but like a functional component, that one can just accept props. So yeah, it will also update when its props change, but it can't hold a state value until like a year and a half ago when suddenly they introduced these things called hooks, and that's like it's what we used like all over the place. Well, we're using reducer hooks now because now you can plug like your Redux hooks into functional components as well. So that's also quite cool. Um, but yeah, anyway, so this example that we have here is example of a class
Mm.
component, and for now I'm just gonna like comment it out. No, I'll just write the other component above it. So I'll say old header here.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you're going to convert it now to a functional
Yeah.
component.
So sorry, I'm
Okay.
used to saying
Interesting.
function. So you say const, and then we'll call it header, and then it's basically like a callback kind of function, and then I mean, what you can say is you can do these curly brackets and say return, um, and then we just return what was in there.
Mm.
But with
Mm.
ES6, I don't know if you know about arrow body functions.
Oh yeah, those are
Yeah,
amazing.
so we can simplify it even more to just that if you want to, which we will because this doesn't do anything. And if you wanted to add props in, if you wanted to say like the header takes in props, you'd put your props in up here, and usually you'd like destructure them like label or whatever. So if you were passing label down to this header component, you'd access it like through props like that. So in here
Okay.
goes props. Unless you're not using props, then you don't have to pass anything in there. And yeah, that's pretty much how that works. Um,
Okay.
yeah, and as I mentioned, we like the style CSS actually just comes from our source folder, um, because we set up that other little JS config JSON thing, which just like allows our compiler to know not to do the like deeply nested dotting stuff. You can just
Mm.
absolutely import from source.
Okay.
So yeah, where is Kevin? Why is he not here? I feel like I should call him.
That's probably best.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna WhatsApp call him, but I'll do it like over speaker so you guys can hear him. I am calling him. Unavailable, just like that. Why? um, it's all good. So yeah. What else can I show you in the midst of us waiting for him? I'm gonna
Um.
delete that old one because we don't need it anymore. Because basically our goal now is to not use these class components like ever because you really don't have to. Like in my work project, we don't use class components at all.
Okay.
But knowing class components helps you understand the hook stuff and why we use hooks and all that. So there's kind of like this. It's good to know about them, but also so much easier to write code without that.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, you were saying.
Yeah, I spoke to Michael yesterday,
That's
um,
sweet.
and I think he's also keen to join because I mean he is a React developer
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
sweet. No, I must put him on then. Oh, let me send him the
Yeah.
link as well. Uh, I mean, yeah, super last minute, but just be like, yeah, why not? I'll just type in like we're doing a live React coding session if you want to join. Otherwise, if he just wants to watch, you can also watch it on YouTube.
Hmm. Okay. Well, that yeah, I mean that functional component thing is pretty cool. So then you just import this file, which is the header component. So you just import that, and then
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. Let me show you some other thing because we did this like I did this nice little exporting like trick. So in the
okay,
components index, um, you'll see a whole bunch of things that we export in default as something. So
yes,
like there for header, we're exporting the default, which you know is whatever we exported default as in header, and we're calling it header. And then this means that in our app component, we can just like import header from components instead of like, wait, sorry, it's not from our
okay,
app components, from pages. Like, I mean, I guess our public page, you can see that we import like a whole bunch of stuff from just components. Like, you can import multiple things from that directory.
okay.
So instead of
That's
importing
nice.
like the default thing, you're importing like a named version from like the directory root. Um, so that's like a
Okay.
nice little trick as well. I mean, there's a bunch of ways you can do it. You could like, if you had multiple things that you're exporting up, you could export all from this. So then it will export all the named things from a file or from a directory, which is quite fun. Oh, Mike
Okay.
says he's working, unfortunately. Um, I'll try keep him posted in future. Then I guess keep you posted in future because I can't think and type. Ah, great. So, um, still have no idea where Kevin is. So this is a good time to explain random things that are going on.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I don't know if you want to know any more about that or something else. Like what was helpful is we did it like with our helpers as well. Um, I think the only thing that we do in our helpers is a capitalized method. The group
Okay.
stuff was just an example. I think I was showing him how you could like import more, like export default as something from another thing, and then like export all from group stuff if you wanted to. So I'm gonna delete that folder because it's not like really doing anything at the moment. It's
Okay.
just one example.
Where does this the term default come from? Is it
You
just
know when you like make your component, you need to export, or you can either export something like from a file, and then
yeah?
you like it's exported as the name that's given, but you can also make like a default export. So if I go into like, I'll just do it in app.js as an example. Like there's a space here. If I export or if I import something from dot slash something, then this here is the default export. Like if in the like something.js file, uh,
Hmm.
if that's if we had that, we would basically you'd export default, and then like if you wanted to, you could do like just a string if like for fun. So then this something here would be the string test. But you
Okay.
could also export like just a labeled thing, like without the default. Export const str equals test or test2. And if you wanted to get that one, you could say string like that.
Yeah. My thing is my sandbox isn't updating when you type. I have to like reload the whole
Hectic.
thing. It's quite
Stoic.
annoying. Let me
Um,
just.
so yeah, what I've got now should like obviously like the browser's gonna be broken right now because it's like not supposed to work when I do this.
Yeah.
um,
Just waiting.
but yeah, in the app.js there's something.js,
Yeah. Okay.
and
So
like yeah, so I'm just pretending that that's the file, and then in the other file you'll import that stuff from there. So you can import str from test2, like I mean sorry, from something. So you, like that will give you test2. Um, but to get the default thing, like that would be like basically just like something like as we like we import roots. That roots way that we import above there
yeah.
is like the default import. But app
Okay.
name is like a named import, an auth button and stuff. So I think it's one of those things you grasp when you work with like someone else who's been
Yeah.
doing this all the time. Because I
Yeah.
just learned it through working at our platform. Um, like yeah, basically if it's wrapped in curly brackets, then it's like a named export. And if it's not wrapped in curly brackets, it's a default export. And the default export, you can call it like whatever you want. Like you can really just name it whatever and then use it as whatever. Because when it's a default export, you use it like as is. It's just like when you import React from React, that's like the default export. So you could actually import like blah from React if you wanted to, and it would still work. Like,
Okay. Okay.
or it might not. I don't
Okay. I
actually
get
know
it.
because like React works a bit weird with JSX. But I mean, like when we like use other stuff like use states that we import from React, we like do like a use state because it's like a named import within the React package.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
yeah, it's basically like that's how it works. And I mean,
Okay.
when we like in components where we say default as, that's where we are like we're getting the default thing that we're importing, like that's a reserved JavaScript word, and
Yeah.
we're like saying as something to name it as something else. So this auth button in components, I could say auth button as auth, and then use it down in our app source like just as auth, like that,
Yeah.
because like we've renamed it when we imported it. Um, Obviously, if I get rid of this stuff, it will work.
Yeah. Still, my sandbox is
Kevin
still
isn't our
not updating when
sandbox.
you.
Yeah.
It's still not updating when
So
you type.
yeah, basically I could say in the components I can import auth button as auth, and then when I use it in app, I'll change that auth button thing to just auth. So I can
Okay.
rename it like that if I wanted to. But yeah, I think Kevin will be on soon. He is. He said he ran late to the shops, but it's fine.
Okay.
Got to explain this, which we went it over. Like, I think we kind of went over this in the first video that we did, so it's not like new
Okay.
stuff. But yeah, it sucks that things aren't updating for you there, because
Yeah, it's strange.
I see your cursor moving around.
Okay, but if I type here, can you see? I'm just gonna type whatever. Can you
Yeah,
see anything?
yeah, I see it.
There
SD,
it's
SAD,
is
SD. Yep, I see
Okay,
it
well
all.
I don't see what you do. Uh
I'm a ninja. Maybe I should refresh mine just for the like sake of it.
yeah.
Maybe that will help you. I don't know. But yeah, Kevin will be soon. Waiting for you. uh, Copy, and I'll send him the link again. Oh, yeah, Kevin should use web WhatsApp. That will help a lot with this link stuff.
Hmm.
What did we break?
Strange.
So our components dash refresh contestants button. Something weird is happening there. Just means one of these I have to get rid of.
React has already been declared.
Yeah, I think we just copied and pasted the whole file twice.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna. Yeah, and like the name that you export something default as, it doesn't have to match the name that you use when you import like a default thing from something. So that's the thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. But now if you do export something not as default, you have to specify that name.
Um.
Or can you export something that's like a non-default thing
Yeah.
with a
So
default?
if you export something not as default, then you have to specify the name, but then you can do that as trick that I was talking about. So like, yeah, you can import use dispatch as UD, and then you can just say const dispatch equals UD and call that function if you want to. So that's like the
Okay,
process of like naming something. So
cool.
yeah. Uh, where's Kevin?
Yeah.
You're here.
Hey,
You
Yeah.
joined us.
What's up?
how's
Yeah,
it?
Welcome.
finally. Hey, what's up? How's it been going?
Pretty good.
Yeah,
I've
good.
mainly just been going over stuff like that we've done before. So I showed Richard how to convert a class component to a functional component, like I did the header
Okay,
one,
cool.
and then I was
Yes.
just showing him how the exports work. Like,
Okay, cool.
yeah.
Awesome.
So you didn't miss anything.
We. Oh, thank
uh,
goodness.
yeah. Now you can talk about what you've been doing.
What, like, on the app, or you
Yeah.
mean like today?
I've been on the app. Yeah.
Yeah. Um. So what I did was when we log in and the contestants entered with a point, and when you submit it, then obviously the both buttons at the bottom show up. So we've got that other
Yeah.
button showing, um, which is pretty awesome. And then
Yeah,
when you
sweet.
log out, yeah, and if you log out, all the buttons disappear to the display where the public would view, you know?
Yeah, sweet.
So, and then I managed to remove contestant button. And also I just, when you click remove contestant button, it just says, are you sure you want to remove this contestant?
Okay, sweet. Yeah, so that remove
Yeah.
contestant button's gone when you log out. That's great.
Yes.
Cool. So now they can't
Yeah.
do the crazy, crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Ah,
Sweet.
pretty
Exactly.
cool. Well done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Now when I
that's awesome.
I'm just gonna go look at how you did it so that I can scrutinize everything you've done. And
Yeah. Just double check me, man. I hope
oh,
I got
okay, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So
I hope I got alphabetical order correct.
I have a nice shortcut for you here. If you go to
Okay.
contestants display contestant,
Let me just it's all the way at the top.
it's in
Yeah.
components, yeah. So you've got like basically two really big return statements, but a lot of the stuff is the
Yes.
same.
Okay.
So and also like so firstly you don't need a fragment if there's only one
One div.
yeah, like one sort of child. It's only to
Cool.
wrap adjacent children, like so that React
Yeah.
doesn't complain. But as you can see, like over here, the only difference
Yeah.
between this and this
The
is like
button.
pretty much that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can get like rid of this,
Okay.
and then we have like a nice little shortcut where we can say is logged in, and then you just say and it will do this. So this basically means if this statement is true, then render
Yeah.
this, and if it's false, it won't render it. So you could say like
Oh,
is logged
okay.
in
Jeez.
like plus. Sorry, wait, I messed it up. I could say is logged in plus 1 equals 2, if I wanted to, really.
Yeah.
Um, or I've got to say equals equals because that's JavaScript.
Yeah.
And you can do like a sum and be like, if that sum makes sense and it's true, then we'll render this. So you can do like anything that comes before this and, you
Okay.
do that. But you could also say is logged in, and we're not going to do this because there's no reason to, but you can say like question mark, and then you have like a little colon afterwards here, and say like otherwise like return the text nothing.
Okay.
Um, Now it will say nothing if they're not logged in, and if you log in, then it will say
Yes.
like remove contestant.
Awesome.
So, but
Ah,
yeah, we don't really need that. That's a ternary statement, and you can kind of like use it like everywhere. So
Okay. Epic.
yeah, so we
Sweet,
just
man.
say and we are sorted. Cool.
Awesome.
Um,
Oh, that's way more simple than.
yeah.
Jeez.
So it's like to make it a lot more
Okay.
like clean and reusable. It's like you still show everything, but you just have some conditional render in there.
Okay.
Um,
Awesome.
nice.
yeah, sweet. So what else? Did you change anything else?
No, that was it,
That was
eh?
pretty much
Pretty
it. Okay,
much
cool.
that, and then obviously
Yeah, the
just the
button,
button.
the
Yeah,
contestants pointing. Okay, cool. I mean, maybe I should
pretty
just
much
go
the
look at
same as the other
that.
button.
I'll go look at the other button just to make sure.
Cool. It's like
Because why
pretty
not?
much exactly the same as the other one.
Okay, yeah, sweet. Cool.
Sweet.
Let a doggy
Cool.
howl.
So,
Yeah.
and then what else are we doing?
So now
Whose dog is that?
that's Richard's.
Uh,
Richard's dog.
So we're gonna make a login page.
okay.
So basically, I'm gonna go to pages and I'm gonna make a new directory, and I'm gonna make a page called
Yeah.
login,
Okay. Cool.
and then for login, I'm going to make. Oh my gosh, uh, my thing's being weird. Okay, cool. A new file in there, and we'll just make our index.js.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is going to be very straightforward. So we're going to say import React FC. No, not FC. That's for TypeScript. Um, I've been doing that all day. So just React from React. For now, we'll do other stuff later, and we'll say const, and we'll say
Cool.
login page, and we will say we'll make some brackets here, and we're basically gonna have for now. I'm gonna return. Um, I don't even really care right now. So I'm gonna just do like
Cool.
an h1 saying login,
Cool.
and then under that like an input uh, where the placeholder can be like username, and then another input where the placeholder can be password. I guess
Bad word.
I'll make it like lowercase so it's like consistent. Padword, yep, padword. And
Cool.
if you give an input field the type of password, then it will be like basically those little black circles. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Cool.
I'm gonna export default login page. And yeah, that's that for now. We'll set up the reducer stuff for it
Okay.
like later, because I think we can just use like Redux for this
All right.
to set username and set password. And
Okay.
we'll do it all in one place instead of per field, just so like Richard sees like the bigger picture of what's going on.
Okay.
Like
Awesome.
what I would recommend is like you kind of do it like this one and this one separately, because then if they're each
Yeah.
their own component, then like the username component will only subscribe to the username changing, and the password component will only subscribe to the password changing. But if you put them in the
Okay.
same
Cool.
components, yeah, then this whole component re-renders every time something changes. So,
Okay. Cool.
which is not like really what you want. But
Okay.
we will get to that. I think for now, let's
All right.
just go to our roots and say we can import, well, not import. We just say const login page. And we're gonna like lazy load this because they might never want to log in, and then we don't have to load the login page. Pages slash login. Yay. Cool. So
Okay. So
now,
what did you add there? You added the you just added the login page, eh?
yeah, yeah.
With the
So
lazy. Okay.
yeah,
Cool.
so we're like it's the same as importing. It's just now we're like code split
Yeah.
importing it. So
Okay.
yeah.
Sweet.
And then I guess we'll make a route here. We'll also just make it exact and say path equals slash login. I can say component, and in there we say login page.
Cool.
So now if we did slash login, we should theoretically get the login page, but it's not doing anything. Why is it not doing anything? Wait.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, yeah, mine's just taking a while. It's like loading again. It's like ooh.
Awesome.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, got it.
Oh, you guys got it before me. Mine's just like I'm gonna take my time. I mean, if you guys get it, I'm
No,
like
that's very cool.
totally gonna start going on so long. Um, so now we're gonna do the reducer stuff. I'm gonna set that all up before we set the. Oh, why does it say app at the top? Oh, it says app at the top because that's like part of the master page, and login is its own like thing.
Cool.
Sorry,
So
Barry.
yeah.
What's a reducer?
Basically,
Just quick, yeah.
like it's almost like your like it's an extra thing. It's not like part of React. It's another package, but like the creator of React Redux is like um he's also on the core team of React. So it's like a lot of people use React and Redux together, but it's like a sort of like it's a special kind of architecture that allows you to manage state. So like imagine your reducer being like your global store, like for
Okay.
like this that stores your state. Um, so instead of like having a component have its own little state, you have like an app level state, and you let your components subscribe to that app level state. So if you look in our reducer slash index, just the index of reducer, we have like we have an initial state, which is like this is our app state. This is the default state for our app, like when you load it up,
Okay.
because you don't want to give it an empty state because components can be subscribed to a specific value that's undefined, and then you like actually I want it to be like an empty array or false or something.
Yeah.
So you have the initial state with where all your stuff goes, and then you basically the way to update the state is to dispatch actions, and that's why we had that like use dispatch and use selector. So use dispatch is used to like dispatch an action, and an action is just like it's a specific type, and the reducer listens to these different types that we set. So like in example, yeah, we got type set name, type set points. That's like the setting the name of the contestant that you're inputting. Um, and
Okay.
it's like setting the points of that. And those types those actions that you dispatch, they can come with a payload, and that can be anything we want. So in this case, our action also has like a name attribute to it. So it comes with a type, so that Redux knows which type to listen to. That's why the switch statement is here, like we're switching between action types.
Okay.
And it also comes with like whatever other keys you want to attach. You don't have to attach keys on them. Some of them we just don't like submit contestant and refresh contestants, refresh points, um, even toggle logged in. Like they don't have any payloads attached to them because when you submit a contestant, you already have the name and the points and state, so you don't have to pass anything through. You can just use the existing state to submit contestant and
Okay.
refreshing points. Like you don't need a value to be associated with that action.
Okay.
So those are examples of actions. All the types we have listed in here. I
Yeah.
think maybe I should just quickly show you, like, in order to implement this, like if we go to our source index, like the index there between dummy and playground test, we have a provider which comes from React Redux, and we have a store that we've created. So that's what allows our app to listen for these dispatches, and it knows, so it knows like components within this provider know that the use selector hook can be used and the use dispatch hook can be used, and like that's what provides that dispatch functionality and that like selector functionality in there.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll get to the component side of things later. For now, let's create our actions, and you might have a better understanding of how that stuff goes once we do that. So
Okay.
I'm gonna make two more actions. One, like this is just the string that we kind of setting so that we can like import like the string and make sure that we use it, like we use the exact same string in the reducer as the actions that we set up. So we're gonna say a set username, and again it's just a string set username, and then we'll have another one export const set password.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
Oops, sorry, my IDE is moving quite slowly, so set password. I should just type without looking, then I'll be happier. Cool. So there's like sort of just like constants that we use to like make those types. Now in the actions.js, we're gonna make those types as well. So I'm just
Okay.
gonna make a space there, and in here I'll write export const, and now we like the action is actually just a function. It's a function that returns like an action object, and the action object has a type in it, which our reducer listens to, and then whatever payload. So we'll have set username, and that will be like the username that we send through. And this like every time our username input component will update will dispatch the updated like change, which is like
Yeah.
whatever. And we'll say name. Or sorry, I'm gonna say type because I'm alphabetical about this. So it's types dot set username, and then also we take uh, the username key that we've made there. So, Richard, another tip if you're not familiar with it, username is the same as just like calling it username.
Okay.
Yeah. So like if you say like username colon space, like the say if the variable name matches the key name, you can kind of merge them into just one. Uh,
Is that a general rule with JavaScript?
it's
With TypeScript?
ES6. So like
Oh, cool.
ECMAScript.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that. Haha.
Yeah. It's great. Yeah.
Learn something
So
new every day.
general rule. So if you see like a syntax you don't recognize, that's probably what's happening here. So yeah, we have our type, and we're saying types dot set password, and again, just because I'm like OCD with like making things alphabetical, I name my keys like that.
Cool.
So yeah, you're passing through a type and you're passing through a key. And example, submit contestant underneath that just passes a type. We don't need to accept any inputs for that. And you can obviously like accept like multiple inputs in here. You could do like another thing, uh, and pass that other thing through. But yeah, in our case, yeah, we're
Okay.
only gonna pass through one at a time.
Okay,
Uh,
but now,
yeah.
sorry, bro, for submit contestant, wouldn't you want to pass the contestant in? Because I mean,
No,
you are
because
submitting it.
we already have that their name and points value in the state.
Oh,
So
okay, okay. So
it's
you don't
already
need
we
to.
just grab it from the existing like states value. That's the cool thing
Okay,
about Redux is like you have everything at your fingertips in the state. So you only need actions to like you only have to pass through payloads to update a state. Um,
okay,
so I guess submitting contestants, we're updating the contestants array, but
yeah,
we already have the state values in there. So if you see I mean, it was complicated, so we put it into like a helpers function. But if you see our reducer helpers submit contestants, we just take in the
okay,
state and we use the state.name and state.points. So we just use the existing
Yeah.
stuff and then we push through something based off of our existing stuff. So yeah, it's
oh,
nice.
okay,
We try to like avoid passing like data through functions as much as possible and rather just rely on like other ways of retrieving it when we can. Obviously you can't do that all the time, but
yeah,
it means there's like less points for things to go wrong because
yeah,
like you got your one true source of state and yeah.
okay,
But you could like just you could still pass the name and points through. It's just extra stuff to maintain, which is what we try to avoid.
okay.
So cool. We've created actions. We've created action types. Now, let's go set our username and set points. So I guess I'm going to add those things to the initial state first. Um, yeah, I was alphabetical, but I might go off point now. And to make up for not being alphabetical, I space it out. So we have a username, and we have a password, and they're both just going to be empty strings for now. So great, wonderful. Um, Now down here we're going to say case types dot set username, and in this case we will return the existing state, and then we just like this is also ES6 shorthand, so you're basically copying the existing state and then changing the key in it, changing the username key to match action dot username.
Oh, so that's almost like the jQuery extend in a way,
Yeah, pretty
aren't you?
much. So yeah, you just like Otherwise, you've got to put like all the existing. Well, it's kind of yeah. You're just copying the existing state because remember the state gets updated throughout the app, and you want to like when you update the state, you don't want to say like I don't know like replace anything else. You want to keep everything else as it was. So yeah.
Okay.
Obviously, if you're doing it with an object, if you like updating an object inside this state, then you've got to like spread that object and update the key in that object, and there's like a whole bunch of stuff you do around that. But yeah, we'll get there if and when we need to. So action.password, and that's the Redux side of things done. Like that's all we need to do on the Redux side. We have our action set up, and we have
Yeah.
like the like state mutator, which is our reducer like setup. Um, Now if we go to our components, the pages and login, this login page, we will do stuff. Oh, and I was going to mention, mostly for Kevin, like if you were going to like put in the username and password like inputs into their
Yeah.
own components, you could just put them directly into this page because they're not going to be reused anywhere else. So you don't have to stick them into the components folder. You just like put
Okay,
them
cool.
in this page like we did with contestants display. We
Yeah.
put the contestant in there. So
Okay,
like
cool.
if it's not going to be reusable, you just yeah put it like
Awesome.
underneath here where it should be. Anyway, the reason I didn't arrow body function this out was because we need to get our dispatch and selector. So we're going to say import use dispatch and use selector, and this is sorry not equals, it's meant to be from, and we'll say React Redux because that's where it's from. I did from with two M's because I don't know why I did that. And now we say const dispatch equals use dispatch. So now we have our dispatch function, which like very important. People forget this because if you just try and call the action
Yeah,
from our reducer, then we are a bit like messed up because we need to dispatch it. Otherwise, it will just return that object and do nothing with it. So you have to dispatch the like returned action type. But yeah, for now, I'm gonna import the set, not set name, set username, and set password actions from reducer slash actions. Um,
cool.
so that we can handle the clicks and stuff here.
Yeah,
I mean, not handle click, but yeah, handle change. So I'm gonna make one handle change for handle username change. And there's so many different ways you can kind of do these things. So yeah, but this
yeah,
is the most straightforward. I mean, if you were to handle a whole bunch of input changes, you could probably like assign them like a name and have some system to systematically update like stuff. But for two input fields, it's a bit pointless.
cool.
So should probably be change, and I'll make my onChange methods in here. So onChange equals handle username change, and the onChange in here equals handle password change.
Cool.
Cool. Now
Okay.
well, not final thing, but for the dispatching actions,
Yeah,
we we can dispatch not equals, but set username, and remember it's a change, so it has a event. So
cool.
I'm just gonna say e.target.value in there. And then
Same for there.
yeah, same for this one. We'll just dispatch, and we'll say set. No, set password. And we'll say e.target.value. And yeah, that's it. We're not using useSelector yet because I want to explain kind of why
Yeah,
we put it there. Um,
Okay.
the point
So
basically is,
yeah.
yeah, actually, yeah, ask your question first.
Okay. Okay. So just to get it right, So when you say dispatch, it then so it dispatches that value. No wait, because you set the username. So that dispatch.
So it dispatches the action with the value as a parameter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like we said
Yeah.
in our reducer actions, we created the set username, and we said it needs
Yes.
to take in the name value.
Yeah.
That we just called it name. But you can pass anything in there. So this e.target.value is the name that we're passing through,
Okay.
or username that we're passing through,
Yeah.
and e.target.value in the password is the password that we're passing through. So um, because
Okay.
yeah, we
Let me
just said
just.
take in a value.
Okay. And how does um sorry let me just
How does the
okay.
reducer know to change?
Yeah, how does it know where to find that function? The set username.
So bear in mind, okay, so we're dispatching set username. Set username we created in actions.js,
Yeah.
and that username basically, which what gets dispatched is an object with a type value in it, which is types.setUsername, which basically is just the string set username. So you have the set username string type, and then you have the username as a value. So then in our reducer index, like where our actual reducer is, um, this reducer basically updates every time an action is dispatched. Like this runs every time an action is dispatched. Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So the action is the second variable in that gets dispatched, and the state is the first one. Not dispatched,
Okay.
but like it's when it runs, it will run with the action that was dispatched, and it will run with the state. So the state is just the existing state that you had, and the
Okay.
actions is yeah basically the action that we just dispatched. Now to know what to do, like what it returns is it will return an updated state. So we have this little recipe here where we do a switch statement around the action type. So remember that action is an object that has type and then like name or type and points or type and username or type and
Yeah.
multiple things. So we're
Okay.
switching between the action type here, and we're looking at a case for each type. And if the type of that action was set name, we will return the existing state and update the name key with the action.name value. So that goes on all the way through, and if none of the types were like found, then it just returns the state as is. So basically, nothing changes. The state doesn't change, like so nothing will update.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
yeah, this is just kind of the process of updating our store. And now, like I mean, the cool thing is that's pretty much it. This is how Redux works, and you can kind of use it like pretty nicely. Like when you start it, like when you start using it, you can just use it everywhere, and like it's great because you don't have to pass props down through components and stuff.
Yeah, it's the set state and this dot set state and this state and oh my word.
Yeah.
Do away
So
with all of that. So awesome.
like it's quite a mission to pass like all this stuff through. Like
Yeah.
um,
Okay.
so yeah, Kevin knows because we converted away from using states and passing the state through everywhere, and we
Yeah.
decided rather okay let's use
Uh.
Redux for things.
I've still got the app in with the way we had it with using state and stuff till a point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but then I stopped working on it because we're following this currently. And then
Yeah.
I was gonna
And
build, yeah, when we later down the line, I want to just build it in like with the class components just to see the differences. It's always cool to learn.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So like and use state is still very useful. What I sometimes do is like I you could if you wanted to, you could use state and then like we don't even have to keep this name and this set username and set password in like anything. We could just kind of like how you were gonna say you wanted to submit a contestant. We could log in, and then in that login function, we can accept the values of username and password like uh
Oh, okay.
from the like as they are here. But I wanted to kind of just show off like how we'd used Redux for it. I mean, maybe we could show you how you'd use it the other way. But the other way is basically you keep the state in the component, and then when you click login, um, you will basically what was I gonna say? Like when you click login, you'll pass the username and password through. But now the way we're doing it now with Redux is when we click login, we'll just use the existing state and existing um, like the existing username state and the existing password state and log in with that.
Okay.
Yeah, but we'll get there. Again, there's so many different ways you can do it. So there's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I just want to like open your mind to that. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, let's go back to our login page and show how we would use this.
Cool.
Um, so
Sorry.
no worries.
Sorry.
Theoretically, what? Oh, right, you've broken things. How
Yeah.
dare you? So theoretically, if we type in like stuff in the username and in the password, it like works, and the state actually is updating. But um, it's a good practice to make something a controlled component when you're working with this kind of state thing. So an example is if I set the value um, of username to Barry, then
Yeah.
suddenly there the value is Barry, but you can't change it now. If you try and type into there, nothing's going to change because we're suddenly making it a controlled component. So this value is going to always be Barry regardless of what you do, or it's going to always be some variable that can change, and you like trying to change something now will make it like
Yeah.
you can't update it. Um,
Okay.
so like it's kind of good practice to keep your like again either kind of like keep them as at like don't mix the two, don't try and set a value and then not make it controlled, because then you'll run into problems trying to change something, uh, like so I'm going to show you basically we're going to set this value to be the value of username, and to do that I'm going to make const username, it's going to equal use selector, and the
Yeah.
selector takes the state object that we have, and we're going to turn state.username. So there we go, we suddenly have a username, and we can put username in there.
Cool.
So now that should load up, and it should start with username being an empty object, and now if you type in there it updates like as it should. Cool thing
Okay.
to show you that it is definitely working is let's add value username to password. So
Yeah.
now when you type in there they'll both update
Ah,
because they're
nice.
definitely like hooked up. So um,
Awesome.
yeah, but we're not going to do that because basically the username change is what's happening there is in handle username change we're dispatching to set and update the username, but now that password is subscribed to the username value as well. So yeah, well the login page is subscribed to that, but we'll just basically do some wizardry and say password here, and then for password we can say password, and like that's again like Redux for updating component stuff.
Yeah.
Again, if you wanted to, you could probably use state and then keep the login button here, because what we're actually gonna want to do now is we also want to add in a button for login, and we're gonna get like the other button we're gonna move into the public page, or we're gonna move
Yeah.
it
We
into the
don't.
public and the admin page and not into the login
Okay.
page,
Cool.
like so it'll be specifically sitting in the page, but we'll make a button
Cool.
here, and this button is gonna be it's just gonna say login. and on click, we'll make a function to handle login click, I guess. Um, and let's make a function handle login click. And I mean, for now, this is console.log login clicked. Oops. Yeah.
I had like a alert pop up now. Do you want to save this password?
Yeah, yeah. I also had
Are
that. I
you
was
sure
like,
you want to
never.
log in?
Yeah, yeah. Classic.
Cool.
So, what was I gonna say? So there we got our login buttons.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move the other login button like out of app and put it in like it's the auth button, so we can put our auth button like just in the two pages. Um,
Okay.
so I'm gonna go put it into admin because that's gonna act as our log out button.
Yeah.
Actually, it's gonna basically be so for admin you're only gonna log out. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna add in like so in admin I'm gonna add a dispatch in here. Equals use dispatch. And yeah, sorry, I've got to go use like implement use dispatch.
Cool.
So we're not going to use the auth button component anymore because each time
Okay.
you click on it, it's going to do something different, and it's going to be different depending on where you are. So when you're in the like public page, if you click on it, we should go to the login page. When you're in the login page,
Yeah.
when you click on it, you should go to the auth page, and then when you're auth
Yes.
page, when you click on it, you should go back, like you should log out basically.
Back.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Back to
it
the.
will automatically
Are we
redirect
gonna
you
go
back.
to public?
Yeah.
Or okay.
So I noticed earlier that this actually like just works as is. You don't have to have the return null in there.
Okay.
And it actually gives you a warning when you have the return null in there because it's like we didn't manage to return null. So that means it
Cool.
should work fine. So const dispatch, again, I'm just going to like BR in here.
Cool.
Um, Oops, my bad.
No NBSP today.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be break lined here. It's like lazy coding. Don't even do button right. So I'm just gonna make a button in here and slash button. And I mean, I really like consistency, but to teach, I have to be inconsistent. Again, remember, if we wanted to, we could just make a callback in here and say dispatch. Was it toggle login, I guess? Yeah, toggle logged in. Yeah. I just need to import that from reducer actions.
Okay.
Yeah, you've got this import here already, so I can just piggyback off that. And sorry, I have to call this toggle logged in function down here. So that's just me being like, yeah, really lazy, and I generally think it looks better if you put this into like a handle something clicked.
Okay. Cool.
But just to show you that we can do that if we wanted to as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Sweet. So then, yeah, sorry, I must go to public. So that's
Yeah.
admin. Admin will work now. It will log out as we need to. Um, in this public area, we're gonna make a. It's gonna be like a login button, but instead of it being like actually toggling login, we'll go to the login page. So
Okay.
on click here. Again, I'm also gonna be lazy. and I'm gonna say history.push. I still have to import history and stuff, but I can history.push. Why does it say history.back? I said push. And be all like monstrous with me. And I'm just gonna push it to the login route.
Okay.
Cool. I just need to do this. And I need to get history, and I get history from the React router DOM package. So you just say const history equals use history. Oops, spelled that wrong too. History. There we go.
Yeah.
And use history comes from, it's a named export, which comes from the React router DOM package, which is like one of our node modules that we've like
Okay.
added. So it's a package that we use to manage our routing. We implemented that
Okay.
yesterday. So yeah, theoretically now, if we go to like not the login route, I mean, I guess in the login page we can have like a back button as well. So it goes back in case they wanted to go back. Something happened. What happened in our
Yeah,
public
mine
page?
says use history is not something is not a function.
Right. It's I forgot to return here.
Yeah.
My bad.
There you
Cool. Sweet.
go. Just
Sweet.
check.
This person doesn't know a lot about artists, just know if you had a comment. Someone's dad is a big fan, which is great. I'm glad your dad's a big fan, Ryan. My dad's a big fan too. He doesn't know a thing about coding either, so like we have this kind of vice versa thing going on. Completely didn't notice your comments. Sorry, it'll take a while to look at those. Anyway, what's happening with our app? Has yours loaded up yet?
Yeah, mine has finally.
Okay, cool.
Why is it so slow today? It's so weird.
I don't know.
Mine also, yes, dude.
It's just like everything is like ridiculous slow. I mean, mine was pretty slow yesterday. You guys seem to get the pages before me. Yeah. So if we click login now, it goes to the login page. Perfect.
Yeah.
One final
Check
thing on the
that.
login page, I'm just gonna add a button that like goes back.
Yes.
So I'll like BR it again. Just break lining it. I don't know.
Cool.
I don't know why they call it. I guess it's BR for break. Yeah, it's a breakpoint. Cool. So I'm gonna make a button. I'm gonna say slash button, and I am gonna say back. And what back is gonna do is, again, I'm gonna lazily on-click it, make a callback, and say history dot. You can actually say history dot back, but I mean, if you somehow ended up going from the like other page to the login page, you'd be a bit sad.
Yeah.
So I'd rather just push on to like the admin page. And again, I have to do the
Okay.
same thing to go get history. So I'm gonna say const history equals use history. Yeah, and remember the reason we can do this use history thing is because our whole app, like the login page and everything, is wrapped in the router component from React Router DOM. So like it's also
Yeah.
acts as like a little provider kind of thing. Use history, and we say from React Router DOM. It's typing in slowly. There we go. And
Cool.
yeah. So that should theoretically make us have a nice little back button.
Yeah. Perfect.
And it works. Yeah. I'm not going to test it now just because I know it works. So
Awesome.
finally, we're going to remember we're just going to mock the login functionality for now. But so we're just going to say like if like username is admin and password is admin, we can do that. Now to do that, like remember theoretically what our login or this mock login is doing is we're setting the is logged in value to true.
Okay.
So in order to do that, we will basically you just say like when the submit action is done, we don't have to pass the username or the password in because we already have it in our reducer state. When we click
Yeah.
login, we can dispatch like log login, like we just log me in or something. I
Okay.
think I'll just like the action will be called login, and then
Cool.
like on the Redux side, we'll look at the existing username states and look at the existing password states and make sure that
Yeah.
it matches like admin, or
Okay.
whatever. Like we can make it like anything. It could be 123 or yeah, it doesn't matter.
Cool.
Um,
Awesome.
so let's go to our reducer action types and make that login action.
Cool.
Uh, so again, maybe I should just do it down here. Export const log in. And what it's technically going to do is it's going to toggle logged in, but I mean, it's like, we have more tests around this action.
Yeah.
In the end, we're actually pretty much removing toggle logged in now because we're not going to use it anymore.
Yeah. Are we even gonna need toggle logged in? Not at
Well,
all,
I
eh?
guess you can replace it with logout because we use it in the auth page as
Okay.
like a logout, and then you could just
Oh
say,
yes. Okay.
yeah. So you can change toggle logged in to log out, and then instead of saying it to be the opposite of what it is, just set like is logged into false. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, there's our login action, but you can do that like off camera because I'm like lazy.
Awesome.
um, and now look at you and tell you if you're wrong.
Cool, man.
Okay, there's our login action. Pretty simple. Just takes in types dot log in, and there we go. So that is there, and then finally in our
Yeah.
index side of things, um, this is where we can show Richard what it's like to make like a helper function for this
Okay.
because we're only
Okay.
using the state, we're not adding any actions in. When we removed the
Cool.
contestant, we had to add the action name in because we needed to know which contestant to remove. Um, so we passed that action in, but yeah, the what we're gonna do now won't require that. So we're going to return the helper that we haven't made yet. We're going to return just, I guess, log in. And it's going to need the state value so that we can get the, username and password. So, yeah. So now in reducer helpers, I'm going to make a new folder. It's going to be called
Yeah.
login. And sorry, it's finally been made. it's everything is really slow for me.
It's chilled, my bro. It's chilled.
Okay, cool. New file index.js. And yeah, also waiting on that. Cool, that has
Okay.
been created. Now inside
Yeah.
index.js, I'm gonna say const, and it's gonna be called login, and it's gonna take in state, and it is gonna do stuff. So
Cool.
if let's say state.username is not equal to admin, then we will basically like JavaScript alert, not JavaScript alert, just like make a little alert box pop up, and we'll say username does not exist, just for the heck of things, and then we'll do an else if state.username, not state.username, state.password, and we'll also make it not equal admin.
Cool.
You could just do like both of them and say invalid credentials, but like, this will make it more
Yeah.
specific for us. It's more secure to do it the other way of saying like invalid credentials, because then you don't give them clues
Yeah,
that the username does exist.
yeah.
But yeah, password incorrect. Cool. Let's make a little exclamation mark so that we're shouting at them. Uh, and then we have the final else, because if there's not, well, yeah, the I guess sorry, I should do this a little bit differently. So in this case, we will return state, like we'll return the unchanged state.
Cool.
Um, cool, because nothing changed. Uh, we basically just telling like our reducer, like, don't do anything, don't change your state, like ignore this action.
For
Basically,
both
is
of them, yeah.
what it does. And then finally,
Cool.
we'll do a return over here, and we'll return the actual state. So return state, and then we say is logged in to true.
And and that is if the username
Yeah,
is
that's like
admin,
it.
password is admin.
Yeah, basically, if the username's not admin, then
Yeah.
it'll boot out of the function and say
Return.
return state.
Yeah.
And if it's not password, I mean, we don't even have to say
Return.
the else if anymore, because we're doing the returns. Yeah,
Okay. Cool.
because once you return, you're out of the function. Like, you don't
Yeah.
keep going. It like breaks out. So yeah, I'm gonna export default
Cool.
login, and then in our helpers, the thing that you famously forgot yesterday.
Oh my gosh! Like 2 times, dude. 2 times.
Is
Yeah.
you gotta go export default from here, otherwise you can't import it
Yeah.
like we do.
But it's good because it made me know of it now.
Yeah, yeah. Once you make the same mistake a few times, like it gets drilled into you, um,
Yeah.
quite nicely. So
Cool. So now we've exported it.
yeah, now we just need to import it where we're using it, and
And
then
that's in our login
theoretically
page.
things will work. Rowan said hello, question mark, question mark. Hello again.
Who?
The person commenting on this, the only one watching. uh,
Who is it?
I don't know. Just know that his dad's a big fan. Um, and that he doesn't know about coding, but the cube looks cool,
Okay.
which is wonderful. Okay, now
Cool.
will this work? There's my little cube coding about.
Which file are you in now?
Um, I am currently in. Well, I'm trying to test it. So, I was in the reducer file,
Yeah.
but I just want to test if this works. Oh, right. So login clicked. We forgot to hook this action up to our login page button.
Yeah. So in login page,
Yeah,
we
you
got
just
to
have to.
import it into here, right?
Yeah. So remember this login that we're importing here. It's the
Yes.
function name is the same. Like the action name is the same as the helper function. Um,
Yes.
but what's happening is we're getting this from actions. So we dispatch the action, then the
Yes.
reducer responds to the action with the login function that we just created in helpers. So it's a bit of a this happens, then
Cool.
this happens, then this happens, but like, yeah. Anyway, done. Yeah, pretty straightforward. We just dispatch login like that.
That's our function. Yeah.
Yep. And
Perfect.
now
And boom.
if you click login, it should work. Does it work? Mine's not doing anything. Why? Right. So what's happened now is
Yes.
we are logged in.
But you have to change the root.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and that's what I wanted to do actually is I want to get rid of the admin page. Well, not get rid of it, but theoretically get rid of the public page. And
Okay.
then rename the admin page to public. So that because they're pretty much the same thing, that just the admin page shows a little bit more.
Yes.
Well, I guess the admin page shows logout. Yeah, never mind. Um, so ignore what I said. We'll leave it as is for now.
Okay.
Um,
Cool.
but yeah, if there are any like minor changes, then you could like theoretically render the same thing and then just render extra stuff for the views if they logged in. But yeah,
Okay.
Richard was right. You've got to say history dot push, and we're gonna push to slash admin. Because the way this works
Awesome.
now is if you are not an admin and you go to the admin route, it redirects you back to the public page. So
Awesome.
yeah, you can be pretty sorted really.
That's so
Cool.
cool.
Yeah, works.
I wanted to say, what's in the bottom of the console? It says warning cannot update during an existing state transition,
Is it happening now again? Um,
such as within render.
I think I
Render
fixed that.
methods. It says render
Oh
method
right,
should
yeah,
be
when
a
you log
pure
out.
function.
Yeah. So let me just go look at it. It's probably gonna be where we click log out.
Okay.
Um, weird. I think we just need to, if we return history dot replace, it might work. It might not give that error anymore. Um, but I just need to test it quickly.
Cool.
Oh, and obviously you can see we might want to clear the admin and like the username password entry.
Yeah.
No, the problem still happens.
Cool, eh?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think that's why instead of replace you say push. Um, that might fix it.
Could that? Yeah, that sounds.
Yeah, I don't usually use replace just because it's like I don't know. Cool. Sorry, my stuff's taking forever to load again. So
It's killed me, bro. Mine also. It's so
it's
weird
like
today.
why is this happening to us? Gonna switch to VS Code.
Richard, how's yours?
It's fine. Yeah,
Okay.
it's not too bad.
I still got to send you guys that recipe, man.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it.
It'll be worth the wait.
I'm
I'll do it just now when Max finishes work.
Cool.
No, it still gives me
Yeah,
that
no,
error, bro.
also I don't know. But I mean theoretically it
Uh,
works. I think
yeah, it works for now. So.
you can let's I'm gonna try one more thing. So
Mhm.
there's a redirect component. Wow, how did that not come out? It's just like
Three dice.
redirect. There we go. And you can say to and you can say slash. And then we don't need history. And this also comes from the like React router DOM like thing. It's just called redirect.
Okay.
And this might
So
work.
same, but different.
Yeah, this might deal with that for us. Yeah, I just never actually
Yeah,
deal with this much.
that sorted it.
Did it? Okay, cool. Sweet. So
Mm.
that's the secret to that.
Nice, sick.
This is
Um,
great.
yeah, so that's
Yeah.
cool. So then, what else was it gonna do? I know I was gonna clear the admin like
Yes.
password username, but I feel like there was something else I wanted to do.
Uh,
Okay, well yeah, we do successfully push there, which is great. Um, but yeah, the login basically in the login helper in our reducer, you just wanna like set password to an empty string and username to an empty string. I do remember now what I wanted to do with logging out. So with logging out, with that redirect, what I think we should do with redirect um,
yes.
is you should redirect to the login page.
Okay.
Just because, like,
Yes.
yeah, then they don't like have this confusion of where they are. They know that okay, I tried to access a page that was unauthenticated, so it took me there. So now in the app, if you go to /admin, um, if you're not logged in, which you shouldn't be because the state resets, it redirects you to login. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And if you type in your name wrong, you get the alert. 123, and you get the alert for password. And yeah, there we go. We have a cute
That's awesome.
little login page, and then when we log out, it automatically redirects us to login, or you can go back and it will take you back to the app like as it is.
That's so rad, my bro.
Oh,
So yeah,
did a lot.
What
did
the heck,
a
dude?
lot. Any questions?
That's epic.
Yeah, I
That
think
is
I've asked
epic.
all my questions.
It's like I did
Well,
it.
I've got lots of questions in my brain, but right now I'm just trying to understand everything that's going on here. So I'm just focused on that at this point. But it's making a lot of sense. So that's
I guess, I
awesome.
mean, I could show you how. I mean, this is mostly for Richard. Again, it'll probably blow your brain a bit. But
And
for
me.
Kevin, you it'll be a refresher. So as I mentioned, we could do things the state way, like the actual use
Oh
state and
yeah.
not reduces. Um, so that would just mean that I'm gonna like remove that, and we'll make like a component state. So we'll say const um, username and set username. Um, so that's like an array kind of structure, Richard. It's different because, and I spelled const wrong. Spelled it with like an E and then a T. And now we say, oops, use state.
You know what? Oh,
Oh
there
my
we
gosh,
go.
and I said like a minus instead of like an equals. There we go.
Equals use state, yeah.
Yeah. So, and we get use state from React. It's a built-in React thing, and this is how you set state for functional components. We're using functional components now. And then
Cool.
our functional component here will be password, and we'll say set password. Okay, password sorted.
Can you hear Megan talking in the back?
A little bit. So I'm just gonna comment the other like dispatch stuff out because you're not gonna use
Cool.
dispatch anymore.
Cool. That was my phone, sorry.
Cool. So here we're gonna set username to be oh, why am I saying equals e.target.value. So yeah, again the way use state works
Yeah.
is you have an array with the first item in the array being the value of the state, and the second
Yeah.
Okay.
item is the setter for the state.
I
So
was wondering.
yeah, so that's basically what happens there. Yeah, you can do that.
Cool.
So very straightforward. And then the values that we have in there already, we've replaced username and password in there because they were from selector and now they're from use state instead.
Okay.
Oh right, I do
And
need
then,
dispatch login. So
yeah.
I, I need dispatch. I'm gonna like no, I didn't mean to comment that whole thing out. I'm just gonna remove these two things. We're not
Cool.
gonna use set username and set password for this. Um, So now, because we're not using like the reducer set username and password, now we have to pass in when we log in. We'll pass in the username and the password, um,
Okay.
like just in
Cool.
that
Okay.
order. And then it means in our reducer actions,
Yeah.
we would need to pass in.
Oh yes, yeah.
So our actions will pass in the
Mm,
username and password. So those matter. Like that's important. And we just need to
yeah.
like again stick it in here. I'm being alphabetical again. It might like clean up to the like I don't know, it might fold. Yeah, there we go. So it folds over just to fit on the screen. So there we
Cool.
go. We're passing
Okay.
our password and usernames to the action type that's happening here.
Okay.
Then in our reducer, again, I'm gonna need to, because we're using a helper function here. I'm also gonna pass. I'm gonna pass state, and I'm gonna pass like action dot. I mean, I could just pass an action as is.
Okay.
Be lazy like that. So now we go to the login helper function that we created. And yeah, we were just passing in state.
Yeah.
We're not actually using state anymore, except for having. Well, we do have to have state still because we want to maybe just
Yeah.
return state or whatever, and not like
Yeah.
return this stuff. Um,
Okay.
and if we say action here, instead of saying action, I'm just gonna destructure password and username because I'm again lazy that way. And then instead of saying
Okay.
state.username, state.password, I'll just remove those and get the password and username. Yeah, and obviously we don't really need to set
Cool.
these anymore because we won't be using them anymore.
Cool.
And like in the midst of this, we obviously would need to clean it up. Like we don't
Yeah.
need to use the setters for setting like the username and password anymore. Like there's again, just showing you there's so many different ways you can do this, and because it
Cool.
doesn't really matter right now because it's such a simple thing, it won't give you like big performance benefits, but this kind of stuff is important
Yeah.
like later down the line if you're working on more complex stuff to know what works best.
Okay.
But yeah, so this should work. And this also, because it's state, it means whenever you, like, let's say you type something in login. Sorry, something's being weird. A component's changing an uncontrolled input of type. I don't know why that's happening. Well, I do know why. I'm just too lazy to test it. But if you go back now, and then you go back to login,
Yeah.
the username refreshes itself because every time a component unmounts and remounts, the state value is not saved. But with Redux, if you unmount a component and mount it back on again, like the reducer value doesn't change. If you wanted to like change it, you'd have to do some like unmounting cleanup logic. So it's like a good it's kind of a good way to like justify when you should use when you should use state and when you should use like reducer stuff to do your problems.
Okay.
Like if you need this value to go across screens and stuff and go across different views, then rather keep it in your reducer. But if it just needs to be for the specific view that's not going to change, then using state like makes sense. Um,
Okay.
you can obviously get around it with the state stuff by like when you change the view, you pass the state value across to wherever you're going to use it, but that's dirty. And then
Yeah.
also the Redux side of things, you can use the use effect hook and like have the like in the unmount function dispatch an action that cleans up the reducer. But that's also like why don't you just use state then if you? Well, it depends. It really depends. Like you could have some
Okay.
combination of like you want to clean it up after doing a bunch of different view stuff. Then like there's workarounds for both of them.
Okay.
But yeah, I need to go fix that problem in admin or login. Sorry. So it says that there's a component is changing an uncontrolled input of type undefined. Oh, that makes sense. So Richard, one thing I forgot to mention in use state
Yeah.
is you can add a default value. So I'm going to default it to an empty string. Or I can be lazy and default it to the actual values it should be. And then like
Okay.
you have it. So that will fix the problem that we were like having. But yeah. So
Cool.
I'm gonna turn it back to an empty string just because that makes
Yes.
sense. But yeah, so like the problem that it had there was like the value was undefined, and then we added a value in. So no, like if you want it to be a controlled value, you should specifically set it to be an empty string. You shouldn't change from undefined to something, because if value's
Oh, yeah.
undefined, it means it's an uncontrolled component, which means like
Okay.
you don't treat it like it's not managed by state and stuff. So if you suddenly
Yeah,
change
you're
it
not gonna
over
use
to
it.
yeah, yeah, like, or you're not going to use it with your React state component, so you'll get the value some dirty jQuery where. Oh my gosh, shut up, sorry. Freaking sorry. I was off my watch as well,
Jeez.
so I didn't even get the scary heads up on my Mac to say like, hey, look.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Well, you know what we know what she thought about jQuery.
Yeah,
yeah. She's
something
like,
about
that's what I
dirty.
said. Freaking dirty jQuery, and then she's like, that's what I thought.
Oh my
Siri
word.
agrees.
Okay,
Oh,
earlier, so we just the use state that you just said, yeah, to an
Yeah.
empty string. Um, we've taken away what we also said earlier to be an empty string after we've submitted the password and stuff, correct?
Yeah, yeah. So we don't need that anymore
Okay.
because when this component unmounts, then
Yes.
like the state doesn't stay stored, you know.
Okay, cool.
So whenever the component remounts, it remounts with a new use state, new
Okay,
like it will
awesome.
remount with this like yeah, this default.
Awesome. Dude,
So
this is epic.
yeah, it's good to know those like little like tricks, because then you know which tool is better to use for your situation. Um,
Awesome. Bro, I think you should go like change your name to like Master Coder or something instead, you know.
instead of just my
Are you
parental given name.
are you guys fan of Star Wars?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yo, I've got like the whole collection. Like, yeah, it's pretty awesome.
You're like,
I
yeah.
love it.
I
Oh,
haven't seen the most recent ones, but I
oh
was a
really?
big fan of
Hectic.
the older ones.
Oh yeah, I love them too. But the new ones as well, like if you follow it through, dude, like it really a lot of people like don't enjoy them, but I really did.
Spoiler: Darth Vader dies. Um,
No.
I'm just spoiling the 80s for people. Um, yeah, no, it's yeah. The new Star Wars movies were
Do you know
good. I
do you know
like
who
them.
Darth Vader is? Do you want to spoil that as well?
Ah, yeah, good old
He's my
shy
father.
boy Anakin.
Okay, so this was different what we did today. That was really
No, it wasn't.
interesting. This was insane.
There's nothing new today, I think.
No,
You're trying to keep
Except
me up. Well,
maybe
trying
the
to get me
redirects
up to.
thing.
yeah, but yo,
But
there's a
yeah, I
lot.
guess we just put everything together now. So like, yeah.
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 So yeah, there's obviously like so many like layers to things, because you've got your like you have your like routing layer, and then you've got like your reducer layer, and then you have your actual component state layers, and like and you can have props
Yeah.
obviously for components. Like you can pass props down to components,
Yes.
which I don't think we're doing at all anymore. So
No.
it's just cool because I don't like doing that unless I need to. I think we do it. We only do it at the contestant display. That component. We pass props down to the
I remember there was
contestant.
one place we did it.
Yeah, there we pass the contestant down. We actually spread the contestant values as props. So because the contestant consists of name and points, we just like yeah, pretty much like put that there.
Awesome.
Cool.
And then like we also pass an index as a prop as well. So we like have three little props and we put them there in the little contestant display, like ranker and points and stuff.
Oh yes, over there.
Yeah. And even I
Cool.
realized like even for your action you can like in contestant, like the anti-lazy way of doing things, you could say function remove, and we'll just
Are
like
you are you in contestant now?
yeah.
Oh there.
Wait,
There you
yeah.
are.
Like
Yeah.
no, never mind. Never mind. I take it all back. Because the
Yeah.
dispatch. Oh wait, it would work. Um, I never mind my never mind. You can say function dispatch remove, um, and like put that in there, and then
Yeah,
uh, yeah, then in the action you can just say like dispatch
dispatch
remove,
remove.
because our
Oh, that's I
dispatch
like
function like wraps the whole function in a dispatch.
cool.
So yeah, that's what the dispatch button does. I just
Epic.
better test it in case I've just like taught you complete heresy. Um, so let's do that first. Oh no, it doesn't work. Yeah, so does not work. Ignore me. Um,
Is it, eh?
yeah, and I know why. It's just a bit more of an advanced topic that we will deal with
Okay.
another day when we do APIs.
Okay, cool.
Sheesh, I don't even know what to do next. Um, so I mean, we could on another day. I think I'm busy tomorrow, unfortunately, unless we do like later in the evening, which I'm quite
I'm
happy to do.
chilled. Yeah, I'm
If
chilled
we do like
anytime, bro.
7 or something.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't, but you guys are welcome to go right ahead.
It's like go right ahead and
I'm
ruin
chilled
everything.
anytime, boys. This is,
Um,
yeah, I'm having so much fun. This is really awesome.
okay, sweet. So yeah, what we could do is maybe try out the Firebase stuff tomorrow night. But
That'd be
that will
Oh.
be a tentative plan. It's just like, oh, cool. Uh, I mean, we could do it on Thursday afternoon too if you wanted to.
yeah.
um,
Will Thursday work for you?
yeah, Thursday will work for me.
Okay, and maybe Thursday at like, is one good for you? Because I'm actually like more flexible now.
Yeah,
For
one's
it.
much better.
Okay, sweet.
Then it's like my lunch hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So we do it at one, and then we'll try Firebase stuff. And I can tell you now, I'm not like well versed in that like I am with the rest of the stuff we've been teaching. So it'll be a lot more trial and error. Um,
Cool.
yeah. It might even be worth setting this up in VS Code and like continuing there. Um,
Okay.
Do that.
I'm sure you can like basically put this on GitHub and then fork it out to VS Code, and then we can set up a VS Code live sharing thing. We can
Yeah.
like
I
test
even.
it later, like tonight
Yeah.
maybe or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be.
And just like test, over WhatsApp and like message each other and be like, "Is live coding working?" And be like, "Yes, cool,
Okay.
Cool. Let's do that.
Yeah.
sweet,
Awesome. And
sounds
then
good."
cool. What are you? Are you done with lessons today?
Uh, I think so.
Yeah, we pretty much got majority of the things we want to do now. So
Yeah. I was just rooting and that. So that's
yeah,
pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. We wanted to make our login page. Uh, then yeah, but tomorrow's Firebase, I mean Thursday's Firebase thing will probably be
yeah,
uh what will it be? Like it will be just making sure that we can create, well, firstly making sure we can see a contestant, and then if that's working,
yeah.
then we can maybe look at trying to create one. Like so, like we can fill in the data by default on Firebase. Um,
Okay,
Okay.
cool.
so we can hook up like the view to match like what data is on Firebase, and then we can implement like a creating thing, and then
Okay,
Okay.
after all that we can look into authentication another day.
awesome.
Which might
Great.
be quite tough. I
Yeah,
don't know. I have no idea yet.
awesome. This is gonna be so sick, dude.
Cool.
Can't wait.
Nice.
Oh
Well,
well.
then tomorrow, maybe you and I could just, whenever you have some time, maybe that evening, maybe we could go over like something else, if you can.
I don't know what else to go over.
Um,
um,
oh, I'll make some notes of some like things I can ask and that,
okay,
and
we could
then
do like a little sort of like small fix up, yeah,
yeah, that'd be
like
awesome.
session. That will be sometime
Mm.
tomorrow, unexpected.
Yeah, cool. You
Cause
just let
yeah,
me know,
I don't want to
and
leave Richard out of the Firebase thing. That will be fun.
yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
just leave that Firebase for me.
Yeah. Sweet.
Sweet. No, that'll
Okay.
be
Anyway,
epic. Awesome.
Well,
And then,
yeah.
yeah,
I'm
I'm
gonna
just
end the
chuffed how cool
stream.
this is working. This is epic, man.
It's like
So
this is a
now,
blast.
and when we log out and go to the main page, it shows the contestant data there.
Yeah. It'll run so smoothly.
That's so awesome.
Uh,
And
classic.
no errors.
Anyways, I'm gonna cut the stream. So bye bye people who are watching. Just so that that's
Bye
out the
bye,
way.
everyone.
Bye everyone from Kevin.
cheers.
Richard gives a giggle.
Evan,
And
you? Just cut it.
okay, cool. I'm cutting.